Hello, I know I normally don't look like this, but lately I've been scrolling through YouTube and I have come across a fascinating channel. Actually, a couple fascinating channels. Before I get started, before I even say anything, if you guys want to skip into the video to get started, right where I get into the Halloween story, just click on this timestamp or in the bio I have it. Welcome back, guys. It is Halloween. Well, it's not Halloween yet, but it's going to be Halloween. Actually, I'm not shooting this video on Halloween. It's August 14th right now. Like I said, I came across a couple of channels and I've grown to love these channels. Let me shout them out right now. I'm gonna Good Enough, Sketchy, Offending Everybody, Trust Me Bro, Salmonella Academy, Kelevin, Serious History, and now me. No, I'm just playing. Bro, shout out to these guys. I was gonna make a video like,
I see so many videos like this and it's easy.
I want to give a shout out to those channels. Holy crap. Let me tell you, this is the hardest content I've done so far. It looks so easy because before we even get there, let's just talk about this. Essentially, these accounts, they tell fascinating stories, fascinating facts, fascinating, interesting things. Like, it's just entertainment based channels about different stuff that you may want to know. Torture methods. It's like stuff like that though. Like really, like it's like the hardest job of each time period. Like, you know, like stuff like that you like, and maybe you might be interested in, and it's great content. Every time it's great. All these channels are great content, but it looks so easy because all you have to do is just a stick figure, some drawing, voiceover.
Right up to his death in 2016 when he was killed by a cow?
Easy.
This is the hardest content. The hardest content. First and foremost, drawing the stick figure, one stick figure is easy, but then you have to draw 30. Then you have to draw a background. They have to line it up with the story you're reading. Read the story. Learn the story.
The Bushwhackers were a pro-Confederate guerrilla warfare unit during the Civil War.
Draw the stick figures to the story. Like, it's time consuming. It's not hard, but it's super time consuming. And I was always like, when I watch these videos, like say for example, I'd watch a video from Kelevin or I'd watch a video from Trust Me Bro, and I'll be like, bro, why does he only have this many videos up? I want to watch more. I get it. It takes so long to produce a video like this. And they have my credit. They have my claps. They get my claps from my hands, not from my booty. Dude, I'm telling you, it's hard. But I didn't give up on this first story. We're gonna go and get started now. It's Halloween and it's time to tell a Halloween story based on, in the same style as these stick figure videos. You know, like the video if you haven't yet. Subscribe. I'm making some great content, man. Comment, tell me what you think about the video. Let's begin. Let's get into the video. Scary things that actually happened on Halloween, based on a true story. I think. Don't fact check me. Have you ever had a good night on Halloween and then went home and dumped a bag of candy on the floor? Your parents come home and then they tell you that they have to check the candy? Well, this Halloween story is probably why. This story happens in 1974 and it's called, wait for it, The Candyman. In 1974, Ronald O'Brien found himself in debt of $100,000. In hopes of paying off his debt, Ronald came up with a plan. On Halloween in 1974, Ronald took his two children trick-or-treating with his neighbor, who at the time also had two kids. As the group would travel house to house, Brian would seem to trail and stay behind. So far behind, the group could not even see him. Ronald ended up catching up to the group with 5 pixie sticks in his hand, stating that he got the candy from someone in the dark. At the end of the night, Ronald would hand the candy to the children. He had an extra stick because there was only 4 of them. Ronald ended up giving that stick to a boy who he usually sees at church. That's f***ed up. Back at home, Timothy, Ronald's 8-year-old son, decides to eat the candy within the stick. He told his dad about the bitter taste, but Ronald just brushed it off. Not too long before bed, Timothy had intense pain, even throwing up in the bathroom, convulsing. After time had passed, Ronald then called the ambulance. Not long while in the hospital, Timothy was pronounced no longer alive. I don't know if I can say. The police ended up questioning Ronald on what happened. He told them about the man in the shadow and how he was handing out the sticks, but the story just didn't add up. See, on October 31st, 1974, the house Ronald claimed to have gotten the pixie sticks from, the owner was actually not home. The police had done research finding out that the owner was actually working that day, meaning that he didn't hand the candy out. This had raised suspicion that Ronald was the culprit because he had lied. After more extensive research, police found out he was taking out $10,000s of life insurance after his son's death, which solidified that he was guilty. Ronald was found guilty in court and then sentenced to death by lethal injection. Before being put to death for his crimes, Ronald had a final meal of well-done steak and a Boston cream pie. You're probably wondering about the other kids Ronald had gave the pixie sticks to. Luckily, they did not eat them and they were fine. Despite not eating the candy, this caused an uproar everywhere within the parents. Halloween was not celebrated in the Pasadena area for years after. The news was so popular, it spread it all the way to Germany and London. And fake stories were generated afterwards. Razors and chocolate bars and, many other stories similar to that. And that's it for story 1. This took me about 3 days to make. Not 3 full days, but 3 days. At first, I was like, cool. Created my stick character within 30 minutes. Then I was drawing the house. And I said, this is terrible. Too much work. So I grabbed images from internet and used it. Did it seem similar to those other creators? I do have one more story, and I guess I'll do it in a different way that's not with the stick figures. Now, this story comes from Reddit. It comes from somebody named Kitty Purry 83. When I was younger, I used to live by the woods and could see a cemetery from my back porch. One Easter, I remember waking up and seeing the Easter bunny, one of those terrifying costumes. And what really gets me is I remember smelling the wet hay. When I woke up, I didn't tell anyone, but there was an extra Easter egg in my house that my parents didn't hide. Years later, when I was in high school, I asked my parents if they ever dressed up like the Easter bunny and came into our room. They said they would never go through so much trouble. Then my younger sister, who I shared the bunk bed with, she says she remembers when this happened. She remembers when the Easter bunny came into our room and made a remark about the hay smell. I was terrified that we both remembered seeing a person dressed as a bunny in our room. To make it even stranger, I told the friends I sat with at lunch what happened. One of the girls was my neighbors across the street. She told me one Easter a long time ago, she looked out her window during the night and saw the Easter bunny standing in her driveway. I had chills. To this day, I am terrified of people in rabbit costumes. You may have seen that in a stick figure form, or you may have seen that in stock footage form. I know I've started doing designs for stick figures in this form. That's pretty much it. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Like you learned from this video, if you are going out trick-or-treating, or if you're just going out in general, just please be safe, have fun. It is a dangerous night. Make sure you do check your candy. If you do see something weird, I mean, obviously just throw it out. Happy Halloween. Hope you have a good night. I gotta take a piss.